Hello, my name is Mitchell Johnson. I'm here today to talk to you about my thesis paper, which is over the communication of personnel policies to rank and file employees through the chain of command. I want to begin by introducing three main subjects of this paper. These three things are going to be seen throughout this paper and throughout this presentation, and they have a very strong importance in the meaning and definition of many of these ideas. I want to start with personnel policies. Personnel policies are rules to deal with personnel problems, and these can be like sick days, vacation days, even lunch break schedules. Rank and file employees are employees who are not in a high-level position in an organization. And the chain of command is the hierarchy of authority and power in an organization. I want to start by talking about the complex problem that we're going to look at today. In this complex problem, the communication of personnel policies to rank and file employees through the chain of command. In order to solve this complex problem, you need to use multiple disciplines in order to dissect this problem and be able to look at it from different perspectives. The goal of interdisciplinary research in this thesis is to bring a more concrete understanding of the complex situation by assessing a wide range of information on this topic. The purpose of this research is to better understand the process of communicating personnel policies through the chain of command to rank and file employees, with the goal of being able to properly and further the research into this complex problem. The three disciplines that we're going to use today are organizational leadership, communication, and human resources. I want to start off by going over the literature in each of these three disciplines. I've selected some of the main research that this paper has been written on, and I thought it'd be interesting for you guys to learn more about it. The first one I want to start off with is organizational leadership. Michael A. Crumpton in 2013 wrote an article titled, "Is the Chain of Command Working for You?" In this article, he discusses how the chain of command has different structures and how each structure will work for different organizations. Crumpton is quoted by saying that the chain of command is the hierarchy of reporting relationships. He is also quoted by saying that a proper chain of command ensures that every task, job position, and department has one person assuming responsibility for performance. In a more organic business structure, there's going to be more distribution of power to rank and file employees and less power in the manager's hands. For literature review and communication, I want to talk about George Bukata and Alexander Rzycki in 2017 wrote an article titled, "The Role of Communication in Enhancing Work Effectiveness in an Organization." In this article, they review the rank and file employees are the first to benefit from an effective communication strategy. They also say that managers should be the first person to bridge the gap between rank and file employees and supervisors. Communication methods should be made easy to understand policies and allow for the manager to obtain feedback that will help the process become more efficient. In the literature review for human resource, Gallup, Erdeel, and Cam Toneval in 2015 wrote an article titled, "Do Birds of a Feather Communicate Better?" In this study, Erdeel and Toneval looked at how similar cognitive styles are better made for communicating with each other. In this research, it shows that individuals who share the same type of thinking, such as analytical and analytical, or intuitive and intuitive, are better able to communicate with one another than individuals who have different styles of thinking, such as analytical and intuitive. Next, I want to go into the interdisciplinary research. Interdisciplinary research in organizational leadership shows that being able to construct a chain of command that allows for the flow of communication to be simple and uniform will allow for an organization to utilize their communication methods to the fullest potential. They also say that barriers in the communication and the chain of command that limit the flow of information can be seen in a lot of organizations. Being able to realize where the chain of command lacks in openness will allow for the organization to adjust to changes and implement new steps to help with the strategy and sharing of information. Interdisciplinary research in communication shows that if a manager is skilled in effective communication techniques, they will be better able to rely personnel policies to their rank and file employees in a way that is understood by all employees. Speed, reliability, and effectiveness of the message should be considered when looking at communication flowing down in the chain of command. In human resources, the interdisciplinary research showed that for organizations to understand how personnel policies are being received by the rank and file employees and how to improve their method of delivery. When constructing personnel policies, it is important to make sure that they are diverse and do not single out a specific group in the organization. When the right person presents this information, it will resonate with employees in a more impactful way. So now I want to go over some of the conflicts that we found in the research. The first conflict I want to talk about is between Crumpton, 2013, and Okada and Ogura in 2014. Okada and Ogura wrote an article titled Japanese Disaster Management System, Recent Developments in Information Flow and Chain of Command. In this article, they discussed how multiple people responsible for each level in the hierarchy is a more effective way of communicating than having to go from the bottom to the top and back to the bottom. Crumpton says that one person should be responsible in the hierarchy levels. Crumpton believes that this strong structure is more reliable and helps you take responsibility. The common ground that I found is that both of these highlight the importance of an effective chain of command. The second one I want to talk about is the conflict between Della Torre in 2016 and Erdeel in 2015. Della Torre said that diversity and personnel policies are necessary in any organization. Like I said previously, this is to not single out anybody in the organization. Erdeel thinks that common thinkers should relay these personnel policies. They believe that if cognitive thinking is the same in people, that they will be better able to relay this message. The common ground that I found in this is that while they have different policies on the diversity of personnel policy, if a diverse policy is provided by a common thinker, then this message will resonate very well with all employees. The third conflict I want to talk about is in between the single article written by Bukata and Rizishu in 2017. In this article, they say that managers should be the bridge gap in between rank and file employees and supervisors. In the conclusion of this article, they discussed how 45% of the time that managers spend talking is with people in their same level, 45% of their time talking is spent talking to people below them, and only 10% of the time they're talking to anybody is with superiors. I found this to be kind of contradicting because Bukata and Vrizi were advocating a bond between manager and supervisor that would help the communication flow. The common ground that I found was that if there's more time spent talking with supervisors, there will be a better amount of feedback, and the feedback will be more understandable to the upper level management. In conclusion, after using an integrated approach to this research, different disciplines are brought in to show the difference in viewpoints that could not have been found using a single discipline. It's harder to miss the idea that the structure of the chain of command does affect the ability for personnel policies to be understood and implemented. This topic was selected because of the need for further understanding in how employees that do not hold high-level positions in an organization receive their information from upper-level employees. The weaknesses that I found in this research or due to the lack of information on how this information system is normally presented. It's challenging to fully understand how different mediums of communication, such as email, bulletin board, and in-person, affect the clarity of these sometimes confusing policy changes. While there was some weak information, some of the strong points that came out were the importance of communication in the chain of command. If there's communication in the chain of command, then there will be a holistic understanding throughout the organization about personnel policies and what is required in them. Thank you guys. Have a great semester.